What's up, and welcome to another episode of Starlight Beacon, the show where we guide you through that galaxy far, far away. It's Coop here, and joining me again, as always, my man P. Rich. What's going on, sir? How you doing?
Good. Glad to be back.
Yeah. As you guys can see, I've got a new setup here. Took me all day yesterday to get this set up. It was actually going to premiere on the cookout yesterday, but I couldn't get my camera to work. So I guess it's fitting that the first time you'll see it is on Starlight Beacon, being that it's all a Star Wars themed setup. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I like this. I'm digging it. Damn proud of myself for this. I got some like books and some other things that I'll probably I might work into this configuration, but I'm digging what I got right now, right here. Oh, are you frozen? Oh, I think we lost P. Rich.
You there? You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It kind of just froze. I was like,
all right. I was like, I didn't even realize I was talking to myself. Did you hear what
froze.
I said?
No, you were talking. You were like, it was supposed to premiere your new setup at the cookout, and then it just said boop, and it just froze, wow. And I was like,
dang. So wait, did I freeze or did you freeze?
I don't know. It just kind of I got the spinning wheels, and then that was it.
Okay, dang, man. So that's well, there's that. So I was just saying, yeah, I got a new setup. My camera froze. It wouldn't connect yesterday, so I couldn't get on the cookout, unfortunately. And I was going to debut this set on yesterday's show, but I guess it's fitting that we're going to debut it here on the Star Wars show, given that it's a Star Wars themed setup.
Yeah. So is this going to be your setup on every show now? Is it just, or is this just your?
I'm not rotating this out, man. Listen, I am here. I'm here. But you know what? I might, depending on what they do with Lord of the Rings, I might have a secondary setup for that. Because once the Amazon Lord of the Rings show gets on, we'll have a show for that to review each of those episodes. And my two biggest fandoms, as far as like my expertise go, are Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting that underway. But yeah, that's what I got, man. That's what's going on my end. Definitely looking forward to have another conversation with you about Star Wars and the High Republic.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, so did you get a chance to finish the Light of the Jedi?
No, I'm still 3 chapters away from finishing it. Are we going to have a spoiler? Can we start talking?
Do you want to have a spoiler conversation? I mean,
I'm down. I mean, like I'm pretty much there. You know what I mean? I'm right there, borderline. I don't know what's going on with my boy. Like I told you, Loden.
Yeah.
Yet, the eye. He's got he got his lightsaber, and I'm like, what is he gonna do with him? And it's crazy because I didn't think his whole master plan was that he was like, I wanted you to steal a Jedi. Like, oh, dude. So I'm doing it in the voice that's in the audiobook. And so his voice is all like really creepy. He's like, I wanted you. I don't care about that minor.
That's strange.
He's just like, I don't care about that minor. I wanted you to get me a Jedi. Like, it's weird. It's like
see, that's not the voice I had in my head. Gosh, that's wild.
I mean, I kind of want to play. I kind of want to play it for us to see if I could, a little bit of it. Let me see if I can find a little bit. But his voice is weird. It's a weird voice, and I don't know. It sounds kind of almost like he's a female, but also not. It's like when I'm thinking about this character, he doesn't look, based on his voice, he doesn't seem like he's this big, bulky kind of character. He seems like he's like a thin twig, kind of sleazy type of character where he may not look intimidating, but
Yeah.
he's the master of manipulation and like, you know what I mean, type of thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's been some critique of his character, but while you go, and I'm gonna let you find that section. Before we get into it, I'm gonna go to the comments, see what's up with the people. My mom's in the chat. What's good? She says, "Thank you. Looking good on the set. Appreciate that. You too, P. Rich. Heem is in the building. Got Dorian. What's up, everybody? Thank you all for joining, man. Ready to get into this discussion. And we're going to talk. We are going to talk spoilers about the High Republic novel, The Light of the Jedi. And then I'll probably talk some about the comic book series as well. But the main part of the show is to speculate a little bit into what we want from this next phase of comics and novels. We got another book coming out this month, and then another comic book series as well, debuting in February. And then the next round will be in, I want to say April, around that time, April, May. And so given what we were introduced to in this first book, well, these first really two books and comic, we just talk about like, all right, what they've set up, and then what we want to see from this as a whole. That's kind of what I want to talk about. So let's get into it.
Yeah. All right. I found a good spot here, and you can get a little bit of the production value of like what our character sounds like.
Yeah.
What's this? Marshawn Rowe. That's his name, his main character's name, but he goes as the eye to like the Tempest. Yeah. And so he's the overall leader, And so here's this is how he sounds. Just a few centimeters from her face. That's the lightsaber he took.
I'll put it closer to the mic.
I guess, Marcion said. But the Republic has all the specs for that beautiful ship of yours. Transponder signal and everything. You'd have to leave it behind.
That is weird. That's strange.
That's what
I had. Oh,
yeah, right. So
that's not what I had in my head for that character. Right?
So that's what I mean. Like, if you read the book, you're gonna have these projections of characters where you're thinking like these are menacing, these are cool characters. But at the audio book, they have they're giving these characters actual, it's actors performing their characters. And so to me, it makes me sound like this character is really weak, but he's like, he's that master chess player type character where he's like, he's setting people up, you know what I mean? He's setting them up for, failure, and you know what I mean? And he's just getting the pieces moving. And this is the point where he sent that one, he's like, I allowed you to go pretty much, it's right here. I got a forehead. Oh man. But yeah, man, it's crazy that the vocals are just insane. I can't imagine for you what like if you were to listen to the audiobook after reading, like you would probably be like, I would never expect that character to sound like that. Oh, I would never expect that character to be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not the voice I had in my head when I heard when I was reading through the chapters. Like it definitely, that wasn't what I imagined him sounding like.
Yeah.
That threw me off. That wasn't that's strange. And I Loden, I think I've heard his voice. That sounds somewhat close to what I imagined. Yeah. And I don't know, that's sort of why I don't listen to the audiobooks, because I do kind of like to, when I read, like I want to imagine like everything. I don't know. I do appreciate the production value, but it's like that's just how I read things. Like I put my own character projections onto these characters and like my own like style and personality into it while I'm reading. So like when I hear like an audiobook, sometimes it throws me off a little bit. Because it's not what it may not be the direction I would have taken. But those Star Wars audiobooks are usually high quality. So like it's not like, I mean, they put a lot of effort into the productions. of
Mm-hmm.
those. They give it like a really cinematic feel,
Mm-hmm.
which I, always appreciate as a Star Wars fan, that they go the extra mile. Like no matter what they do, whether it's like video games, like anything, they go all out for the content.
Yeah. One other thing, dude, I can definitely see this translating well over to the big screen. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I mean, I would love it to be small screen just so you can, because there's a lot of good knickknacks in the book that I would love for them, for the people, the audience to see. But if it was to ever get made into actual movie, that they would have to like consolidate on it, and you wouldn't get some of those little, Easter eggs and stuff like that you get in the book. I mean, man, I really like. There's some great action. There's some
yeah,
really good dialogue, and there's a lot of great lore building stuff that just sets the stage up for future installments of Star Wars. It's just like, that you get a better understanding of the hyperspace technology in this book, and it's great to learn that stuff.
yeah. I think that's also because they don't really touch on like hyperspace exploration and how all of that works. Like even in Legends, it's not really touched on. So like the Lor Santeca clan or the Santeca clan is like that's their trade. Like they go and find hyperspace routes. Like during the Great Hyperspace War in Legends, I forget the names of the two characters, but the Republic had explorers that would go out and chart hyperspace, right? But like they don't talk in detail about like how hyperspace works like they do in this book. So that's something that I liked about it, like hyperspace being like its own, like in a separate reality almost. Like it's not even within like real space and real time. Like so like I guess when you're traveling through hyperspace, time stops for you. Like you're in a whole nother dimension or reality. That's cool. Like I didn't know that's never been explained. Like I just thought it was like, and in real space, just an area of real space, like a lane where there's no asteroids or like anything that could interfere. But like
it was like almost going on a highway or something like that. It's like, oh, I'm going on to it, and it just takes you to whatever.
And that's how hyperspace has been explained previously. Like it's a really safe area of space to travel. Like, and so like, no obstructions, no stars, nothing in your path. Like that's just how it's been explained. So like that was really cool to get another type of almost mythological explanation for hyperspace.
And it's kind of sounded like they had that founding fathers too of the technology, where it's like oh, this family kind of were the entrepreneurs of it, and they and they're like this extremely wealthy, because that's one thing in somewhat of the, I mean, I guess they kind of touched bases in the sequel series where Finn and them went to that casino planet thing, and you saw the elite families. You really don't the movies don't really touch on like the wealthy people, the people who make the Star Destroyers, the people who make the weapons, the people who make, you know what I mean? And
like it was the 1%ers of the galaxy. Like we have no idea. Yeah,
exactly.
Even in the Mandalorian, the girl that was making the Star Destroyers for Grand Admiral Thrawn. Like that's like that kind of stuff. That's where we
and how she can just take over a whole town. You know what I mean? And that's how much money she has. And I like them going into, showing like the family that like kind of, founded the hyperspace lanes and stuff like that. And how spoiler alert, guys, forget it. Marshawn Rowe kind of took I'm guessing their like great grandmother or something like that. That's kind of like what is going on.
Yeah. Which is also interesting because like what are the Santecas like species wise? Are they human? Because we see Lor Santeca in The Force Awakens. Like he's the old dude that gets killed like at the beginning by Kylo. Like that's who that character, like, so he's of the Santeca clan. So like, but he looks human. So like, how is she able to live for like it's like over 100 years, right?
Yeah, it's over 100. It's over 100 plus years. She's like, I mean, I guess that medical pod that she's in.
I guess, man, but like they seem to say like it's like there's no way she's still alive. Like it's no way. Like
Because
so
she's
she has
pioneered it.
Yeah, she's got that reputation. Like she like you said, she's the pioneer of it. So she's done this. Like that's her like basic. That's her skill. Like, and I guess no one else in the Santeca clan had that ability to move through hyperspace. I mean, she's like a computer. Like she's like a machine. With how she is able to go through, and then we learn that that's really what the cause of the great disaster is. Like she was just basically traveling through lanes of hyperspace, like, and just happened to intersect at that time. Like it was an accident. Like I don't think she intended to cross paths with the legacy run at that point in time. It just happened, and so that was an interesting reveal.
Yeah, and that's like Marshawn Rowe. You kind of created you pretty much created your own mess, you know. And that's I love that. It's crazy to me that, like, you know, just her being alive and, like, you know, keeping her alive like that, and just kind of using her to create these so-called paths, these hidden paths outside the main hyper lanes, for pretty much just doing all kind of nasty stuff for them. It's crazy. And he could, and how his denial is, you know, kind of comprised of, it's like he's controlling, like he's up here 1 2 3, and then, you know, and each house has its like what, thousands of people in it or something that I was getting at. Each Tempest or whatever, and it's like one dude is controlling over, I guess, 5,000 crew members or whatever people. And it's insane. With that, you know,
it's I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the Nile, like having like just sat with it for a while and kind of let it. I don't know how I feel like with them as a villain yet, and especially Marshawn Rowe, because I'm not sold on him yet. Like they seem to be going in a direction. I don't know if they're trying to make him like Thrawn, with like where he's like a highly strategic thinker, but it's not thus far working. I'm not sold on him being that level of a tactician. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm not saying that he can't be. Like we just haven't seen enough of him, and we don't know enough of. I mean, his plans and his real motivation hadn't even been revealed until like what, the last 10 chapters of the book. So if that, so like we don't really know what his arc is going to be in the future. I'm
his
hoping,
end goal, because he just keeps kind of talking about his plan. He's like, I had this plan. Like I said, you heard his voice.
And it's kind of like, all right, that's cool, but like I almost feel like I would have preferred if they had not, if he had not revealed his plan. Like he just did this and then like left the Tempest and the audience, us, the readers and listeners, kind of confused as to what his motivations are. I think I would have been more intrigued by that plot twist had they not just told us basically what he was doing. Like but those are the type of villains I like. You know what I'm saying? Like the villains that talk too much, I just can't. I don't like them. Like I can't buy into them. Like I have to like not know what your intentions are. Like I gotta feel like you've got, like, you're holding your cards close to your chest and you've got.
He's definitely doing that.
Yeah, but see, for me, once I know that he's got some other ulterior motive, but I know what that motivation is, at least that's been revealed, like I'm less interested in his character arc at that point. But that's just, that's me. Like that's not everybody, but like for me, I'm like Thrawn is a little different, because the way Timothy Zahn handles and writes Thrawn, Thrawn never tells in the pages of the book what he's planning and what he's doing. He just acts. And then you have like a Captain Paleon or I forget the guy from the new novels, but someone there like a Watson that kind of explains what Thrawn is doing and how he's what he just they just explained for the audience what he just did. Like that's for a tactician. That's what the route I take. Or at least I prefer. It's that Sherlock Holmes and Watson type of thing. Like Sherlock does Sherlock stuff, and then Watson is there to dumb it down for us. The audience. Like we're like, all right, cool. That's all right. Wow, that's amazing. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. We'll see what they have in store for this character. The character design for him. You said what?
When's the next book coming out?
Following this story directly, I believe that's the one that comes out in May.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Claudia Gray's novel takes place at the same time as the Legacy Run Disaster, but it takes place. It's different characters, so it's not. We're not going to follow Loden Greatstorm and everyone. That everyone else that we followed from this book. Even the comic book doesn't follow that. Those characters directly. Like I said, the next issue, the next comic book series that comes out for the High Republic comes out this month, but that follows Yoda and this character named Buckets of Blood. Like they're the main characters. And like they're they've got this, they're on a ship. I forget the name of the ship, but they've got a class of Padawans they're teaching, because Yoda is he during this time period he's taking a hiatus from his high council duties just to exclusively teach. So like he's very hands-on with the students at this point in time. So like that's all interesting to me. Like I'm very much interested to see how big they make this initiative, like how many stories they tell around this this disaster, and then how does that, like, do they fan out? Do they continue to like position these stories so that more you can build more on them later? Like what happens to the Nile? There's another villain that they're introducing that they're going to add. It's like they're like a sentient plant race that kind of spread like the Hive in Halo. Like as soon as like a spore lands, like they just spread and they take over. Like, and this is not a species that we've seen in Star Wars. So like something happens to them. Like, are they like eradicated by the Republic and the Jedi, or is it like one of these things where they do something and they're kind of tucked away, and then maybe they can bring them back like after the sequel trilogy as a main villain, like something like that, like
I
have a feeling that they're setting up some stuff, not only setting the groundwork not only for this time period 200 years before the prequels, but for the future as well. Like I think there are some threats, there are some villains, there are some things that out in the unknown regions, and like that they can introduce to us in this time period that will be reintroduced in a later time period in story, which I think could be interesting. Because like wouldn't it be wild if like episode 10 the Nile returned? Like now all of a sudden, depending on how well they execute the Nile in the High Republic novels, now, because if you think about it, like look at the state of the galaxy, like the Republic is destroyed, or the New Republic is destroyed after 9. The First Order and Empire are gone. So like those are two huge vacuums.
Power vacuums,
and I mean, like something's going to fill that, right?
And I mean, and you could, and like you said, depending on how everything goes off with Marshawn Rowe, everything like that, somebody could take over the Nile as the new eye, and it could be kind of like how it is with Maul. You see, he's just a crime syndicate boss. There's all these different syndicates of crime. You got the Hutts, you got Maul doing his thing, and and then all of it. Then you could have like maybe a small like Nile that's been kind of slowly rebuilding itself, and then finally they see that final grab. After Boba Fett does his thing, he tries to take over, and they're like, "This is the perfect time to strike," and then they come back. That'd be cool. I mean, I'm down for it, and especially if they continue with this hyperspace type of, obviously hyperspace is kind of evolved, because everybody and their mother has hyperspace drive on their car, on their ships now. But to be able to, I guess, what was it? What was the could they just blimp anywhere, or is that people pretty much do that anyway right now, right?
No. So you're talking about the Nile, like those routes?
Yeah,
no,
they're
so
routes.
it's those secret hyperspace lanes that the Tempest finds using the Santeca clan navigator. Like she finds him routes through hyperspace that are uncharted, and she gives them to the cloud, and then so it makes it appear, because they're not using traditional hyperspace lanes, so it makes it appear that they're just popping in and out of space at will, but they're just using routes that are on the secret routes.
So that would be interesting thing, a concept, if those routes are still kind of secret until like the modern day Star Wars that we see now. That would be an interesting thing to re-explore that, to be like, oh, there's these routes, and they've been kind of just hidden until this exact moment, and that's how they kind of do this kind of takeover of the new crime. That'd be kind of cool.
Because it's you gotta, like, all of this has to tie together, you know what I'm saying? Like, you've got to, that's what they want to do, like that's the whole goal. That's what Kathleen Kennedy and the folks at Disney and Lucasfilm have put in place. Like,
what about our video games? Is
that's what I'm saying.
Is Fallen Order canon now, or is that
Fallen Order is canon? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, everything, when they wiped canon, it was to make, when they wiped the EU and made it Legends, it was to make everything connected, and like there would be no like offshoots or alternate universe. Like, no, everything tied together nicely, and I was okay with that. Like, I'm on board with that. Like, because they didn't say that they were going to get rid of those stories forever. They can take elements and characters and just reintroduce them in a new way, in a new time frame that fits the current story that they're trying to tell. So, like, to me, I'm like, all right, that makes sense. Like, let's just let's streamline the story, make it a little bit more linear, so we can follow along and just make it easier to follow. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to run into like the DC Marvel type of issue where you got like hundreds of different comic book runs and issues that and then you got this TV universe, and you got let's just make everything all related and connected, and just go from there.
I think the biggest thing too, what I would like to see, if we're going to explore this crime type of thing, and we see the Nile come back, how Fallen Order, there's rumors now, I don't know if we can talk about these rumors that kind of came out this week, that Darth Maul might be
I mean, that was on an official who scooped that, I forget who, but I think that was that was news.
So I mean, Darth Maul coming back, I mean, that right there gives me, what if instead of what was the game that got kind of canceled, the
1313
that kind of what we just replace him now with Kyle. Oh, not Kyle, sorry. What's our boy in Fallen Order?
Kyle Kestis.
Oh, Kyle. Okay, Kyle. Yeah, replace him. Put Jedi, and he has to navigate through this world now, the seedy underworld, and so he's gonna be running into Darth Maul. He's running into the Nile, remnants of the Nile. Dude, I mean, why not?
Well, see, here's where that kind of sort of makes in the timeline. Like, I can believe that Maul would pop up during this time period for Cal, because he's in charge of the Shadow Syndicate. And you see it in in Clone Wars season 7, final season. Like, he's got this like criminal underworld syndicate that he helped form when he helped the what's his name? Pre Vizsla take over Mandalore in Death Watch. Like, they use the Hutts, and like this, he created this criminal alliance called the Shadow Syndicate to help the Death Watch overtake and overthrow Mandalore. and stage a coup. So like, but he still has control of that during this time period because he escapes. Spoilers for season 7. Yeah, if you had, because we hadn't even talked about season 7 of Clone Wars yet, I don't think. But like, so they take him. He escapes, and he also appears at the end of Solo. Like we find out
Solo.
that he is, the overboss basically of I forgot the guy's name, of Crimson Dawn, the head of Crimson Dawn. So he's very much around. And then we had that group of bounty hunters or whatever it is that during the story that attacks you or Cal Kestis.
Yeah,
all the time. You got to escape the arena. Like all of that is connected. Like, and then if you notice, like a lot of those bounty hunters wear a lot of the same apparel as the Nile.
Wow. Yeah.
Like the helmets and stuff, like the character design, all of it looks a lot like the Nile. So I feel like you might be on to something there.
So how much influence were they talking between, like when they were making Fallen Order, were they talking to them when they were writing?
They started the High Republic Initiative back in 2012, so there was absolutely communication. There's possibility for communication between them. Like the fact that they had the character artwork and concept art for the Nile means like they had plans to use it. Well, of course they pop up in the comic books, but like EA has access to that information because they had access to the story group, and so if they were trying to create like this group of pirates, then they're like, oh, yo, we got this thing called the Nile. Like, here's some character concept art that you could use for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So then, even if the stories, they didn't have a way to connect the stories, at least from an aesthetic standpoint, there's some similarities between these characters.
Yeah. I'm trying to look up the see what the Nile concept art was looking like.
Yeah, check that. But no, so the Nile, it would have been last year when they revealed the Nile. But then if you look at what is that group called from Fallen Order? Those pirates. They had a name.
Oh yeah, the pirates that kind of scooped you up.
Yeah,
I forgot their name.
Let me look that up real quick.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, one of these guys looked like the bounty hunter. Yep. Marshawn Rowe, he looks his concept art? Really? Wow. That's how Marshawn Rowe looks. But that's with his helmet on though.
Yeah, I don't think they had any they hadn't revealed any artwork of him with his helmet off, and I'm sure they have it. Because he does remove his helmet.
Yeah. So is this the sentient plant creature I see right here beside it, huh?
Yeah, what are they called?
I need to find a bigger image. I can't even see
because I forgot what they were called. But yeah, like I mean, these groups are said show put the Marshawn Rowe on the screen. Also, Coop Daddy Yoda, what's going on? Yeah, like those are some cool.
Those are some cool.
I like cool concept art and some like I like the artwork. Like when they showed the concept art, like I think like this time last year, I was like, "There's no way that this is entirely going to be for publication only, exclusively." They have bigger plans for it, because they put in a lot of work into the development of this time period for it to just exist in books and in comics. Like I think they have hope that people are going to like this time period and this era and like the things and characters at least that they introduce enough to be able to move into other mediums.
Yeah, definitely Marshawn Rowe, his concept art looks just like some of these bounty hunters in Fallen Order. Definitely. Bounty hunter. So it could be some connection stuff. It could you might, because I mean at this point, I mean after we left off on Fallen Order, I mean where do you go next after you destroy the holocron? Full of where does his character?
Axiom Brood in Fallen Order. Did you get that? Did you put the image up?
Oh, I didn't know how to do that. Sorry.
Oh yeah, share. Hold on. Wait, can you see that? Do you have share screen at the bottom of your screen?
Let's see. Oh, I don't have easier with 2 monitors. I don't have 2 monitors.
All right, hold on. Give me a minute.
Okay.
And I'll pull it up.
Soon, guys.
1 second. Give me
And also, I love that to be towards these later that like how like some of the Nile, they don't know exactly how the Jedi operate either. They're still kind of discovering like the powers and things like that. And they're just like, there's rumors of Jedi using like heat lasers coming out of their eyes and things like just really crazy far-fetched stuff, because that was kind of one of in the chapter that I'm on right now, where they were just like, if the Jedi actually did have laser beams, Marshawn Rowe would be dead right now, the way our boy Loden was looking at him after he took his lightsaber. Oh yeah, there it is. Yep.
Yeah, okay, so here they are. Let me go full screen. So can you see my cursor on screen?
Yeah, I see it. No, I don't see it actually. I don't see it.
No, okay, it's not popping up. I'm looking at it on the feed.
But I do.
Yeah, so the character with the red eye, Marshawn Rowe, that's the eye on the left hand, and then in the middle is the Drengear. So these are the plant like zombie flood like creatures that once a spore lands on a planet, they kind of they spread like a plague, really. And then of course the Nile, and so that's on the far right hand side. That's the image of the Nile. And then if we go and pull up something of the Haxian brood, you can see there's some similarities in the character design. Oh, this is a good one. All right, let me grab that. There. So it's like that's a Haxian brood character. So there are some similarities in the character design of that and the Nile, like like an evolution almost. Like if I were to imagine the Nile,
present day, whatever.
Yeah, 200. Like 220 plus years into the future, like I could totally see this design and this aesthetic being the direction that they go.
Yeah,
I mean, that almost looks. What is that? That the yellow thing at the bottom almost looks like Marshawn Rowe's helmet. Like you know what I'm saying? Like there's clearly some comparisons and some connections between the two. Like I feel like they had that concept art while they were working on the High Republic stuff, and the developers for Fallen Order were like, hey, yo, we need some characters. We were thinking about making this group of bounty hunters called the Haxian Brood. You got anything like similar? And they were like, oh, yo, here's some stuff from the High Republic that we're working on for the Nile. Like, check out this concept art that we're not using here. So you can use any of that. And that's probably like how they kind of sort of got the design aesthetic.
That was and that's one of the biggest surprises to me. And I knew that, and I'm glad they kind of threw that in the Fallen Order too, because it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I can backtrack, and after I got this new power, I'm gonna go grab this force thing that I couldn't grab because I didn't have double jump, and then boom, they're just like right there, and I was like, what is going on? And that's the funniest thing, because the first time I encountered it, I thought it was just like another NPC character that I was like, oh, cool, and I approached it, and instantly, since I'm playing on like the hardest difficulty, I think it was Jedi Master Art, and TKO me right there, because I didn't know what was going on. I was like, why did he start attacking me? I didn't attack him. Like I was like, I thought it was a friendly, like I thought it was
gonna so I was on Zepho, and I had going back in
the first planet you could see.
when after you leave Pagano.
Yeah.
So, it's where it's got all the caves and things that you got to explore in the ice caves and things like that. So like I was going, that one area where you slide down the ice path and you got to jump through like the gears. So I was going through there, and like I got to the bottom, and like how it opens up into that like endless pit. I saw the dude, he was standing at the edge, and I was like, and he pulled his gun, and so as soon as I like landed, I force pushed him, and like this force field came up and prevented him from falling off the edge. I was like, yo, what is this? And then like the screen flashed, and then I was over at their like base or whatever. And I was like, yo, that was wild. Like I almost got mad, but then I realized it was a cutscene, so I was like, all right, never mind.
Oh, so that one, so the very first time I encountered like any type of, I was just doing backtracking. That was before I got to that far in the game, because I know there's a certain point in the game where you can't win the bounty hunter. You just get taken.
The first encounter you can't win. It's not winnable.
Well, see, and that's the thing. The first encounter I did, which was weird, because I went back to what was the very first plan where you get sent on the quest?
Pagano.
Yeah, so I went back to that, and so I went to the that first little area where the Jedi that Jedi was living, and that's why I thought that it was going to be like a special cutscene, because when I walked in there, I saw this person in that place, and I was like, oh, he's back, or there's some new stuff that's popping up, and then next thing you know, I get worked over and I die. And I'm like, no, like, and then that was, I guess, so I don't know, it seems like you can have encounters with bounty hunters in that game before you actually have that first thing, that one encounter before you get taken. If you make it to a certain point. Because that's what happened to me. The first time I encountered it, I died, completely died. And then he was gone, and then when I went back to see
if they take you to so I guess you weren't far enough in the story.
Yeah, so I don't think sometimes. So I think they will start coming once you start just kind of progressing.
That might have been a glitch, because like they're not supposed to appear until you've gotten to a certain part in the story.
Oh well, yeah, they started appearing. That might have been a glitch. I might have been that lucky guy that got that glitch.
Yeah, because they're not supposed to. They appear after it's a certain point in. I think after you get double jump, that's when they're supposed to initiate that cutscene. So the second time you go to Kashyyyk, and then you got to fight the ninth sister, like, because Trilla has to get they have to do the reveal for Trilla and her real identity, and then you'll get that cutscene, because they it's kind of a prelude, because Seer starts talking to Grease about his gambling habits and like how it's going to catch up with him one day, and then like that's like foreshadowing, because like the next time you go out in wild, like that's when you're supposed to encounter one of the Haxian brood, and then they take you in. So I don't know how you got that before all of that happened, but yeah, that's wild.
I be glitching the system, man. That's what happens, man. That's what I do.
Oh man, let's go to the comments. Let's see. Is that the plant creature? No, okay. So the what are they called? The Drengear have not been introduced yet. I don't know what one point in this overarching story they're going to appear. They might appear in what is this next? The Claudia Gray novel, Into the Dark. They might appear in that, because on the cover it seems like they've landed on the planet and they're not sure. It didn't look like they know exactly where they are. So that might be the first time we encounter the Drengear. I'd imagine that it's going to be in this upcoming book. If not, it'll probably be in the book that comes out in May. And actually there might have been a few, now that I think about it, in the comic book series with with Yoda. Because I think that I remember in that sample that I read before it was colored, I feel like I saw something like plant-like creature that they had to fight. And it was massive. It was like a world boss. Like it was huge. Like it wasn't like that picture. This image doesn't do what I saw justice. Like I mean, this like they dwarf um that artwork. Like it seemed like the Dringier was dwarfing the Jedi in size. So it's like they seem pretty huge. Like which is why I'm like, yo, if they ever do like a High Republic video game, kind of like Destiny, and they have like world events where the Dringier just like start spawning, like that could be wild.
That could be wild, yeah. Especially if they do something like, I don't know, like you said, you know, they kind of do they. So when they touch organic, have they explained any of their powers or any of their how?
I think I did. So you remember the Ragul from the Old Republic from KOTOR? I feel like that this is like the organic, like plant-based version of because that's how they describe them. It almost sounds like they are like the Ragul, where as soon as once one is on a planet, like they just start spreading like crazy, and like they are plants, but like they got poisons and things of that nature that they can use. And
my thing is, if they like say one lands on my head, does it take over my body? Is it like kind of like
they didn't explain it like that? It's just like they just kind of sort of they come in and they terraform basically the environment to whatever their I guess their home world is. So like it may not be habitable to like most sentient species, like so I don't know, man. I don't even know how there's no relation based on what they've done with the Light of the Jedi to the Nile. Like this seems like the Dringier are an entirely different threat that they'll be facing.
Which
also,
I love that.
Also, so spoilers for the comic book series, but I just had an idea based on what I read that they, you know, a direction that they could be going in. So Starlight Beacon, right, when it's activated, it sends out a literal sound, a beacon that can be picked up on multiple transmissions throughout like that sector of space. And Keeve, Trennis, and Skier are, you know, he's taking Keeve through her final trials to become a Jedi Knight. Like, and he set up this test on this planet. And she's out there trying to do that. So while that's going on, the beacon is activated, and then there's like this species of like large like almost like bee-like creatures that come and the sound throws them off, so they come into this planet and basically start wreaking havoc on the surface. And so Keeve, while she's on her trial, she just instantly just stops doing what she's doing and jumps into action to try to save this village of people. And she's able to get in her vector and rewire the signal in some way so that it matches whatever frequency that these creatures are on, and then sets it on autopilot and sends it out into space so that they leave the planet alone. And I'm like, and that so that in the story that ends up being her trial. So like she becomes a knight because of, you know, her quick thinking and the way that she helps save that population. So she ends up getting knighted by Avar Chris, like herself, like in person, which was cool. And then what I'm thinking, like, so if let's say this frequency, this thing happens right from Starlight Beacon, and then the Dringier hear it, and like they just come and attack like out of just the unknown regions of space, like that might be how they introduce them. That might be how they introduce them, because like apparently that frequency that the Starlight Beacon is using affected like a large group of species out all throughout the galaxy. So like I could see that, you know, coming into play.
Okay, yeah, see that.
I could see them using that in that regard. But yeah, like it sounds like they're kind of like the Ragul almost in how they spread. Did you play any of the in Knights of the Old Republic, the MMO? Did you play any of the world event like for the Ragul? World
No,
events?
I was man, dude, I was like a solo player. I like never found like nobody ever could play with. Like I tried to get a few people in on it,
Yeah.
but like nobody would ever last. Like I would be like a loner, you know what I mean? And like I just like I said, I would go to planets that were like light Jedi heavy, get destroyed by a group of light Jedi players, and like I never got to like fully live the Knights of the Old Republic like you know experience because I was soloing it. You know, in those games, those MMO games, you need like a squad of people. Like at its best is when you're with like 5 or 6 or however your little group party is.
Oh
How
yeah,
bigger?
I was able to join a guild like really early, so like I had people to run with, like, because
Well,
I
that's
mean I've leveled all 8 characters.
see, and that's the thing. My guild, because I bought the game back in 2000 when it came out, 2011 or whatever,
Yeah,
2000.
2011.
I bought it back then and played it, and I was part of a guild, but then I got off because I was college and everything like that. And then recently, this past when I got back on for that, I hadn't touched the game in over a decade, so I got back on last year in April, and no, not a single person in that guild was online.
Oh yeah. A lot of those guilds are, you could, I don't yeah, they come and go at a time. I think at the height of that guild that I was in, because we had what was it? They had 2 guilds. They had one for in the Republic and one on the Empire side, and it was um Republic Command, I think, or Republic Strategic Command, something for that. And that was the Republic Guild, and then they had Imperial Command for the Empire. And so like, and then like they grew to where like they were doing raids like every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and like they had like the basic, first tier level 50 raids on Friday nights, and then Saturday nights it was like Nightmare, and then like the Sunday nights was like the hardest, but that was like they did like all day Sunday on the hardest difficulty, because it would be like a 8 to 10 hour like mode, because it's like you have to be like fully maxed out. Like, your gear has to be fully maxed out, and like everybody got to know what they're doing, because it's like, it's when you do those raids in MMOs, it's like way more into it than the combat. Like, it's timing. Like, you got to get to certain areas by a certain time, or like it'll just wipe the whole like mission. So like everyone's got to be synchronized, and you got to be like, you just got to know the raid.
Well, that's what we should start that in the Discord. We should do,
man, those are 32 man raids.
Well, that's like, we gotta get the Discord. We start a night's Discord and channel, and
that was like a full time. Like they ran that thing full time. Like that was like running a MMO guild is not easy. Like they're very active. Like Resolute is that's a guild that's active. That was the last guild I joined. They still have a Discord, and they're very active. Still they have both the Republic and Imperial guilds, and they run operations every weekend on both sides. And I think they alternate. I think, one weekend they'll do Republic, and then next weekend they'll do Imperial. And then
nice, okay.
they do that, like, I think maybe when I was playing actively, they were doing it like bi-weekly. So like twice a month they would have raids, and then any other time it was like all throughout the day it was like PvP or any other events where they were helping people level. You just have people just group up in 4-man teams and just run through the progression. They had like expert crafters, people who like could just craft any level gear that you needed and stuff like that. Like that's a whole other thing, man.
Like even on Elder Scrolls, I mean, like it's like that game is fun, but then you're like, if it's just 2 of us playing it, like we have to like level up every single last class of like crafting food, crafting potions, crafting this, and it's just
yeah, like it's because those games are so grindy. Like you got to put so much time into those just for it to reap the rewards of like the end game. content. And like, SWTOR is a little different because it was story driven, and then they nerfed everything like a couple years ago to where you can solo the entire campaign, like from level 1 to 75. You can do that by yourself. Like you don't even need to be grouped. Like you don't have to do group activities at all.
I mean, I've noticed that playing it again where I was by myself and I can go through some of these areas that I was having trouble going through by myself.
Yeah, because they patch it to where like your companion, you can change what their spec is. So like you can make them either a tank, or you can make them DPS, or you can make them like a healer. Yeah. It's like you couldn't do that. Like you had to wait. Like each of your companions had a certain skill that they were like, either you started with a tank, or you started with a DPS character, or you started with like a heals. And so if you chose a DPS character and your first companion was a DPS, like you weren't doing anything without. There's no way you were getting through that like at all. Like I struggled through that. I had to make what did I do? I had a Sentinel Knight with a dual wielding with the two lightsabers, dual wielding DPS, but your first companion is Kira, and she's also DPS. So it's like she can't help you in a fight because somebody's got to tank damage, like because both of you are like just squishy. Like one or two hits and you're dead. Like you gotta deal more damage than like your enemy can deal out.
Yeah.
We're talking about Star Wars: The Old Republic on PC. It's an old game. That game came out in 2011. They had a number of expansion packs since. That game is still active. Like they've merged a lot of the servers. I think they've only got 2 US servers, one on the West Coast and one on the East Coast, and then one European server, and then like I think a server in Asia.
Like I said, I enjoyed it. I have fun with it. Like I said, at the beginning of quarantine, I jumped back on, and I started playing it, all day, all night, staying up all night playing it. And, I had a blast with it. It's just, like I said, when you don't have that, group of friends, to, run with, it's kind of hard, because most of our guys are on consoles. They don't have those gaming PCs like we do. So
and I'm still waiting to get a graphics card because all of those are sold out because of the Bitcoin trading, and people are farming like cryptocurrency. They're building like supercomputers, and like is a shortage of graphics cards, like
because people
are just like they're building supercomputers to farm cryptocurrency. And it's like the graphics card, I think is the Red Dragon that I want. It's like it retails at like I think it's like $440, $450. But right now, if you want one, it's going to be close to $1,000. And I'm like, I'm not spending $1,000 on a $400 graphics card. Like you lost your mind. Like it is never.
What's that one that everybody's been talking crazy about? The one that's for Cyberpunk.
I think the Nvidia 5400X. I think is what.
How much is that one? That's like $400.
They're sold out. Nvidia has a shortage. They're backlogged. Like you can't get an Nvidia graphic card until like they said maybe April or May.
Okay. Oh, I mean that's I mean it's kind of like the PlayStation 5. Like I ain't expecting to get that bad boy until spring or the summer.
That's wild too. Like that it's still shortages of that. Like I hadn't heard that on the Xbox side. I don't know if there's a shortage of those or they, I mean, everyone was talking about like the PlayStation 5 being out of stock everywhere all the time. But like, I don't know if the Xbox is having the same issue or if it's just not that much interest in the.
It's funny. Yeah. It's funny how I found how back during the last generation, I was able to get PS4 and the Xbox One on day one back. Yeah, no problem. Day one back then. And then this generation come around, everybody it was like a fight, man. Everybody was cutthroat, And it was. It's so funny because I had both Xboxes. I had the Xbox Series S. I started out with that one. I was able to get my hands on that. Then my buddy I was able to get my hands on the Xbox Series X, and so I sold the S, and then I just been trying to get my hands on this PS5, and I'd be happy with either one. Like, just give me one of them. I want the disc version because I'm a big movie person, so I want to watch my Ultra HD movies. Yeah. But I'll be happy with a digital one. I'll be happy with a all digital one too.
Yeah, I'm going digital route. Mine, the S though, the Xbox Series S, like that's just, I don't understand why they didn't just make a digital version of the X like that.
X.
Like the PlayStation was smart because it's like, why would you nerf the console just to make a digital version? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like all the PlayStation just like, oh, we'll just take the disc drive off of it and like give you the tower, like, and it's digital. No deduction in performance and power and storage. Like, we're just gonna take the disc drive off. It's really that simple. Microsoft, on the other hand, oh yeah, we can give you a digital version, but you're gonna lose performance. It's gonna be less storage, and it's basically just gonna be the Series X. Yeah,
I had no problem with the S. The S was amazing for me, but my biggest complaint for it, like you said, was that the storage, or it was the storage. And like I said, and everything's in 1080p. I got a 4K TV. I mean, like I was just playing everything. I want 4K. I want 60 frames.
Yeah.
Especially with the Star Wars patch that just came out. I can with the X. Oh man, it's
like that. Yeah, I mean that's my thing. Like it's you have to, if you're going to get the current gen consoles, like the next gen consoles, they're current gen to me now because but you want the performance of it, like you want it fully spec'd out, like you don't want a nerfed version of that console. Like that makes no sense. Like for what? Like
not at all.
Like just take the disc drive off, dock $100. I'm pretty sure like you could have docked more, but hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, and that's what I didn't get. I mean, like, I understand the concept of the S because the S is designed for kids who play like Fortnite. You know what I mean? That's literally, I think that's the biggest design for that S was that, all the kids were going to be playing Fortnite, all those free to play games, and like, oh, here's the S. It's just like you don't care about graphics, you don't care about, you just want to play those shooters and whatever. But the guys who like the adults who play, like, who care about the movies and
man, kids care about graphics. Or you're being really nice to Microsoft right now. Like that's capitalism all day, every day. Like they said we're going to give you this Nerf console that's cheaper for the people who want a more economic console, but then they're going to buy it and realize that it's not next gen at all, and then they're going to want to trade it in and get the X. Like they did that to shut people up. Like, whereas Sony is just like, all right, here's your options. You can have one with the disc or you can have one without it. Like, I'm not making another console. Like, no.
Yeah. And it doesn't, and that's the thing. I wish that I like the look of the digital version more than I do the disc version.
Sony.
Yeah, the Sony one.
PlayStation. Yes, yeah. That's my complaint. Like that tower, like I'm not gonna lie, like both of those consoles are ugly. Like they're not the most attractive things I've seen. Like they both took an L on the product design on that one. Like they really just sold on the console design. Like they put no effort into it. But the discless version does look better because it's slimmer and it's a little more aesthetically pleasing, because that disc drive just is like jutting out of the side of the console, and it's like, that's just terrible. Like I'm couldn't find a way to set that in. Like,
I'm excited to see what they're because they always redesigned it halfway through the console life or whatever.
2 years they're going to be a redesign of these, but both of them.
Yeah, and I mean, I love the PlayStation 5, like the all black concept one.
That whoever put that out, the matte black console, that looks way better than the white one. Like it just looks way better. Like,
I don't know why they came out with a white one. I'm like, guys, your whole thing's been black. Like, I mean, you should have just, I don't know.
Yeah, like I mean, that's my thing. Like,
or give me classic gray. I would have took the classic gray.
Yeah,
back
go,
up.
That's just not their aesthetic. Like, it's not their brand. Like, they should have kept it either like going to the PlayStation 2. Like, it was PlayStation 2 turned what 40? No, 20.
Yeah, 20 something. Yeah, 20.
So like they should pay homage to the PlayStation 2. Like, that's literally the highest selling console of all time. Still, like, pay homage to it. Give us a matte black console. You know, reimagine the design of the PlayStation 2 a little bit and make it the PlayStation 5, and like say just the PlayStation 2 Legacy Edition. And boom, they got. I guarantee you they give us that in 2 years though.
Oh yeah. Oh,
like, because remember they did it for the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 4, like they did the PlayStation 1 Anniversary Edition. That was the matte like gray finish. That thing was sick. I wanted that console. I wish I could have got that. Like, because I got my PlayStation 4. If I had waited and then got if I'd known the Anniversary Edition was coming out, I would have waited and got that version because that was sick. I love that one.
See, me, I'm one of those people where I'm like, I feel like I think I might end up. I gotta be careful. I might end up getting 2 PlayStation 5s.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
I might end up getting 2 PS5s. I might have to get. I gotta get the disc one. All right.
Why do you need both of the same one?
This is the thing. Once the office is complete, I'll have those 2 my consoles in there for the whole streaming setup, and then the digital version will sit out in the living room for watching the movies and everything like that. So,
oh my god, no, that's insane. You don't you just put PlayStation 4 out there like that's 4K.
Nah, the PS4 is gone. I mean, once the PS5 comes to the house, I'm kicking them out, kicking the PS4 out.
That's crazy. That's like one of the best design consoles I've ever seen. That PlayStation, the design of the PlayStation 4 is like that's my favorite console.
I love the Pro.
That when they revealed the PlayStation 4, I was sold on it immediately because I was like, for me, it's the same console. Like, you're not selling like there's no way you're making a console that's than the other competitors. They're going to be similar. JBM, what's going on?
Yo, what's happening?
Nothing much, man. We're just sitting here talking.
Let me make sure my audio and all that right. Yeah, we good.
So, oh man.
Yeah, it's been a slow day today, slow work day. But yeah, I was watching y'all on the YouTube.
Where? Yeah.
P-Rich talking about 2 PlayStations.
Insane. 2 PlayStation 5s.
2 PS5s. I mean, like I said, you got to get one for the living room, which will be for, high res, ultra 4K HD, playing ability. Then the all digital one will be in the office where, then I could put, game, and stream, That's how you do it.
No, it's not. But
I don't. I don't want to be that person that just keeps setting. I have to unplug the PlayStation, bring it into the
office. Player, bro. Get you a Blu-ray.
I'm pretty sure they got smart.
Go get a whole duplicate.
Like, that's insane.
Hey man, when that dog coin, Doja coin, or whatever it's called, comes when I start. Once I get that Dogecoin up, I'm gonna be a millionaire.
Yeah, like that's just insane. Like, why would you even? Anyway, I'm gonna let you listen. You live your life, man. Power to you. But I wouldn't do that. That's definitely not for me. But anyway, so JBM. Before I guess we'll go to 8:30 now. Light of the Jedi.
Good.
Have y'all finished? Well, that's what we're talking about anyway. So, like, have you finished reading Light of the Jedi?
Yeah, that's done.
What's your overall thoughts? Because we've been talking spoilers about.
I I feel like we talked about that.
We didn't really talk spoilers though. We kind of just gave our overall thoughts about, how we feel about this whole initiative, and like didn't really go into spoilers about the book itself. So we kind of did today on this stream talk some spoilers about the novel.
Overall, I liked it. I think it ended at a good place. I think it follows up well for a second book. I think we made a comment about how they had a lot of characters covered in this story. So the story was kind of jumpy.
Mm-hmm.
It was easy to follow, but I think I would have enjoyed focusing in on one character, but more so than the jumping around. But overall, it was a pretty good book.
Yeah. I think that I feel the same way about it. Like, I think it's a good starting point, a good launching point. They've created a number of, well, at least for the heroes. For me, I'm sold on all the heroes. Like, all of the Jedi that they introduced and all the heroes of the Republic, I'm like invested in. Like, I want to know more about stories, but like, I don't know how I feel about the Nile just yet. And Marshawn Rowe's character, I'm not 100% sold on that yet.
Yeah, Marshawn Rowe, like if you heard the audiobook, his voice.
Yeah, we were talking about
is
P.
like,
Rich played that, and I was like, I don't know about that, like, because that when I read it, that's not what he sounded like in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, that joke took me out, and I was like, yeah, this ain't it.
He seemed different. He different.
Yeah, he's just like,
yeah,
I am the I. It's just like it's just like
yeah, it's like it was way. Yeah, I wouldn't go in that direction as far as the voice acting for the because it's like I don't know. I'm not sold on that one. I'm on the fence about that. Like it was a little too much. It just felt that sounded like really like almost like animated, like children's like TV villain. You know what I'm saying? Like Power Rangers, like almost like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
it was interesting. I was like, man. Yeah. So when he went up against one of those Nile, like one of the three leaders.
Yeah.
And like he cut his hand off or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was like, really?
Yeah, I think he just threw a knife. Like he threw the knife and it like cut him. Like, yeah, that's weird. He wasn't. He was.
I didn't take him for
strange.
Somebody that could get physical like that.
Yeah.
He's. I will see what they do with this moving forward. But I do like. I liked the Nile as a concept prior to that twist at the end with Marshawn Rowe going rogue and deciding he's now going to be the leader of like the Nile.
That was his plan the whole time though. Like he was always plotting against him.
Yeah, and for me, I don't know if I would have executed that in that manner. Like I probably would have done something more along the lines of Thrawn, where the intentions aren't always revealed. Like Thrawn, he does stuff, but he keeps his cards close to his chest, you know? So he's like, while you're reading the book, like you're getting some insight into what his motivations are, but you don't see the full. Like I felt like I don't know, I just wasn't sold on that twist for me. Like it wasn't compelling. It almost seemed like it felt forced a little bit.
Yeah.
I would like to see like maybe him. I think it's too early because it's just book one. Like we'll see what and how his leadership comes into play, but I don't take him as a leader.
Nah, he's not a real leader. He's just he's a schemer.
Yeah. And you know,
his only real power is his ability to access the eye and get
which is limited.
Yeah, which is he limited. Don't even do that on his own. He's got to get it from that who's that woman?
I forget her name, but she's of Clan Santeca.
Yeah.
Um,
So she's got the real power.
Yeah, and that was something else that we talked about earlier in the stream, was like, that's an interesting, like, we haven't seen, hyperspace exploration really covered in this depth at this level of detail in Legends. Like, there were hyperspace explorers during like the Great Hyperspace War and prior to that, like in Legends, but they don't talk about like how hyperspace works. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was always kind of talked about as, basically just a safe space in real space to travel. This describes hyperspace as like almost an alternate dimension. Like, it's like, almost like traveling through the quantum realm in Star Wars. So like, that was a cool new caveat, in my opinion, that I was reading. Like, I don't have an issue with, the only thing I'm not really sold on, and that's not to say I can't be turned, is the Nile and really Marchand Row, but everything else was solid for me.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite moments was when there was two Jedi and they were helping this dude find the pass through these iNodes, through a bunch of these server robots.
Oh yeah,
he like hacked it in a certain way, and he was able to do what the eye does.
Yeah, and kind of see.
Yeah, I forget his name, and they were like all burning up from the heat.
Yeah,
that was generated from it, and like the Jedi honed in, focused, and caused like a rainstorm to come down.
Yeah, created a storm. Like, that was cool. Yeah, that was cool. Like, that's also something that I like in general, is how the Jedi, how connected the Jedi are to one another. Like, they coordinate on this like massive scale through the Force to do certain like just like spectacular things, and that's not something that's also kind of new for how the use of the Force, like them using it together in unison, but it taking a great amount of focus and energy, very detrimental to their own safety. But I mean, that's they're Jedi, like they're selfless in that regard. Like, they'll do whatever it takes to do what's right, and like that's kind of what I like. One of the highlights for me of the novel, like just them being like that heroic.
Yeah.
And also kind of it kind of does a little bit of a callback almost to the sequel trilogy with Luke, when he's able to project himself across the universe or wherever, on that other planet. And I was just like, you're kind of getting a little bit of that in this book, where you're just they're able to just they could be anywhere, and all of them, if you focus hard enough, that the Force can do incredible things. And that was kind of the cool thing about reading that in this book and seeing some of that, like, because we hadn't, we hadn't seen any of that. I mean, the only time we've seen that was like literally when Luke kind of just did that, where he kind of projected himself,
across the galaxy.
Across the
galaxy. Like, to your point, because I didn't even think about that in that regard. But like, imagine if he had, an order and like other Jedi that could have helped him, carry the burden of projecting. Like, that would have been cool to see.
Yeah.
Because he might not have killed him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, like them using the Force and using in that way. That was cool. Like, like that's just cool. Like, to know that the Force does work in that capacity. And like, I'm thinking about it too. The vectors and how they use the vectors and how it takes like a certain acumen to the Force in order to pilot those ships reminds me of the Rakata and their technology, because all their technology was powered by the dark side of the Force. And so like their entire empire and technology and all of that was dependent upon their use and knowledge of the dark side. And so like in Legends, when they're the Force basically creates this disease that only affects the Rakata and it severs their connection to the Force, their entire empire crumbles. So it's like it's cool that I feel like there's some undertones of that from Legends in there with the use of the vectors and how the Jedi, it requires basically a Force user to pilot.
Now the Rakata is what's the Rakata?
So the Rakata are introduced in Knights of the Old Republic. They create the super weapon that is the what is it called? It's not the Infinite Machine. The Star Forge. Which was basically like, so the Star Forge used the dark side of the Force it was a huge refinery that could like crank out an entire fleet within like seconds just using the dark side of the Force. Like there were it didn't require any labor or anyone to use it. Like it just needed someone with a connection to the dark side of the Force to power it, and it would crank out ships at like a unreal rate. And that's part of the plot of the game. Like you have to stop Malik from using it to create a new Sith fleet that will take over the Republic and the galaxy. But they have like all of this ancient like weapons and technology all throughout the galaxy that like they pops up all throughout the Old Republic time period. Like the Rakata that's the first empire in the entire Star Wars galaxy from Legends. Like they conquered every single world in the galaxy and every species with their use of the dark side of the Force. But yeah, that's kind of where that is. I don't know, with the introduction of the Old Republic and KOTOR being, relaunched in a new game upcoming that will be canon. I wonder if the Rakata are going to be a part of that, because that would be interesting. I personally think I would like to see the Zepho instead of the Rakata. Just to make some more connections to the Fallen Order and make once again continuing the continuity, make sure everything is kind of sort of tied together. I like the Zepho.
Yeah.
That was a really cool and because they seem, and almost the character design is not really, but they remind me a lot of the Rakata, but like more rational, if you will, of a species. But that's cool. I mean, I would like to see the Zepho appear in some capacity in the Old Republic period. Like, if they are, it seems like they're the archetypes for the Jedi and for the Sith. Like, if the for instance, like they talked about the Prime Jedi, I think in the last Jedi, the first one that went to Octo to found, like that person could be a Zepho. That would be cool, in my opinion.
You guys,
all right. Yeah, everything good.
Yeah, everything's good.
All right. Well, JBM, you got any other comments?
Yeah. So at the end of the story, the what's the name of the guy with the golden lightsaber? Like one of the main Jedi.
Loden Greatstorm.
Loden Greatstorm, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's in the prison right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that part,
that's Bell's master.
Yeah.
Him and Bell.
Jedi Knight Bell.
Not technically yet. He's got to get knighted.
Oh, yeah.
He's not knighted, but he's Jedi Knight elect, I guess.
Yeah, I did. When what's his name? Marshawn was trolling him, holding his lightsaber and all that. I was like, dang,
dirty.
Dirty. Taunt.
Yeah, for real. I guess, and part of it, him being I wonder what's gonna happen because he never got his leg tended to, so he's still his leg is still broken, and like according to the book, like the bone is coming out.
My thing is for Jedi. So if his hands are bound, he can't use the Force or whatever. Like, why couldn't he just use a finger and just have his lightsaber just like cut him in half, like kind of like what what's her homeboy did to in the second the sequel series when he sliced the guy in half on the chair.
Sliced him in half.
Kylo, yeah.
I think he's using a lot of his Force, his connection to the Force to mend his leg, or at least to like act as morphine to keep the pain from overtaking his mind, his consciousness. Because like I mean, it's a severe leg break. Like if I remember correctly in the book, it said that like the bone was coming out of out of his skin. So like it's a severe break. So and they were refusing to treat him, and then he's being kept in a cell, and like all the other cells close to him, people are being tortured. So like all of that is like it's probably just breaking him. It like trying to torture him.
Yeah, that part. Yeah, I mean, on his part, on Marshawn's part, like him putting him in that prison and knowing that torture was going to affect his ability to use the Force. That's a bit sadistic.
Yeah. But it's like I don't know. Like that's part of it for me. It's like I'm not sold on that as far as his character. Like him
like
being that type of person. Yeah, like I don't see him based on what I read. Like he's not that type of person. Like, but maybe he is, and like we'll see that as we learn more about who he is in his past. Like it'll be revealed. Like he's just he's been like this the whole time. I don't know. Honestly, Palpatine was similar. Like his origin story, like he wasn't always like this evil, scheming, conniving dude. Like he kind of was a nice person, and he was actually like he came from an abusive household. Like his dad like abused him a lot, like physically and verbally. Like his Darth Plagueis used that to his advantage to get him to turn to the dark side, and like he kept seeding and sowing these like seeds of doubt that is like his family hated him and he didn't like love them like they deserved to die, and like all these like all like that type of stuff. And then like there's an instance where there's a confrontation between Palpatine and his father, and like in a spit of like rage he just unleashes like this like volatile chain of Force lightning at him, and like it fries him, kills him, and he basically he runs off, and that starts him like on his path to become like one of the greatest Sith Lords of all time. So now it would be interesting if like whatever Sith remnant is out there, because the rule of 2 is active, if they encounter Marshawn Rowe, given what we've been told about him and how his character is like, and they try to bring him to the dark side, like that would be interesting.
Oh yeah,
that would be interesting, because I don't even know if at this time period if the Jedi are aware that the Sith are still out there but operating under the rule of 2. At some point they do learn this. I don't know if they've already learned it or if they're going to find out about it at some point during this time period. But Yoda knew that the rule of 2 was a thing. Like he tells who's that, Mace, at the end of Phantom Menace when they're burying Qui-Gon, or the funeral service for Qui-Gon.
Yeah,
he's like, always 2 there are, master and apprentice, but then like, but which one was killed, the master or the apprentice? So like they knew of the rule of 2. So like, is this when we learn about it? That could be something.
Yeah, that is something. Yeah, I want to know where the Nihil got the rule of 3.
Keep saying.
How you say it? That's the thing.
Nile.
The Nile.
Yeah, it's just Nile. Yeah.
Oh, it's not the
like
Nile
the river.
In the book, I feel like they were saying Nile.
No, it's Nile. Because the writers for the story have all called them the Nile. Like, so if they pronounced it in the book Nihil, that's interesting because in all the interviews they've said Nile. Because it's like a nihilist or nihilism. That's the
I could have sworn they were saying Nihil. P. Rich, you heard the audio book.
Yeah, I heard the audio book. They might be saying it. I need to go back and listen to it. Well, I'm not done with it yet, so this still got like 2 more chapters. So
yeah, that there was another part in that story. I know we're about to close. The when they were on that planet, and the Nile took the kids for ransom. Like who were those kids, and did they get rescued? Because I got lost in that part.
What,
like the older
Porter?
Porter, yeah, when Porter came.
Oh yeah. What's her name? The other Jedi that's stationed there. What's an end? Is it in? Dang, I can't wait. She's in. Give me a second, because I know. I posted that image in the Discord with all of the Jedi that have been revealed so far. She's in that. Where is she? Yeah, Indira.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's so one of them they rescue on the ground, correct? Like they left one of the kids behind, and then did they throw the other one out the airlock?
They threw one kid out the airlock.
No, okay, yeah. So they threw the first kid out the airlock, and then Bell jumps out of his vector and saves him, and then uses the force to prevent the harsh landing, the fatal landing.
Yeah.
So that's phase one. And then the other one is on the ship, and Loden and Indra are both in pursuit at that time. Indra takes the kid on board with her and heads back to the planet, and then Loden is going to rescue the father, but then that's when he breaks his leg. So the father and
he breaks his leg from jumping on the ship or something.
Yeah. As he's trying to pass through the airlock, like he hits his leg, like because he's traveling at like who knows how fast, like, and his leg hits the airlock, and that's what breaks it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because he jumps out his vector and like just tries to make it through that.
So the
father and
captured.
Yeah, they're the only two captured. Everyone else was rescued. I think the mother was knocked unconscious. Hey yo, but this dude, Porter Engle, did y'all see that? Did y'all see that picture I posted in the Discord?
I believe
Porter Engle is on there, bro. I need his story. Like, I need that dude's story, like ASAP. Like when he became known as the Blade of whatever. Like, I need that story because he looks like he's been through some things, yo. Like he's got like the scar over his eye. Like I need to see his story. I need to see that story.
There we go. Next book.
But all right.
Coop Daddy Yoda.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here. It's been a great stream. Thank you all for joining and for watching. We'll be back next Sunday as always with another episode, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on this channel. JBM, do you got anything you want to say before we close?
Yeah, man. Y'all have a good night. Yeah, be easy.
P. Rich.
Hey, same thing. You guys, thanks for joining us. And next week I'll have my new setup. Won't be as much traffic coming through. So, yeah.
And like I always say, peace, love, blessings, and may the force be with you always.